Okay, so yes, I was mentioning my name is Carlos. I'm the CEO of Sales Titans, and today we are going to talk about fundraising. As I mentioned, I have been fundraising since 2016, and I think I can tell you some secrets or tricks which can make easier your fundraising process, right? We will be seeing several topics during today, and feel free at the end of the webinar to raise your hand or ask your questions, or even afterwards, if you have any question which you consider I can help with, feel free to reach me out. Okay, so my first fundraising, it was in 2016, and I was able to achieve $500,000. This was with one of my first startups. And the reality is that fundraising is so difficult, right? There is money in the market, of course, but it's very difficult to convince investors to put them on your venture or your project, right? But the thing is that what you can do is to optimize the odds of success if you take the right steps. So if you want to be closer to private investment and make your dream come true, be attentive today, because we're going to show some secrets that will be helping you. So why the shark method? Investors, they use to move and think like sharks. They are savvy and strategic. They move in group dynamics, and this is very important to keep it in mind, and they behave based on their instinct. So before starting to fundraise, you need to be aware if you are in the right stage in order to make it happen. Sometimes we think that we just have to knock doors of venture capital in order to show them our idea. And this is not true. I mean, unless you are Elon Musk, I don't think that investors will be giving their money to you with just an idea, right? So that's why self-sustainability is crucial in the first stages of your venture or project. Let me tell you something. Your best investors are your customers. If you are able to survive by yourself, even if it means that your growth is slower, it will be your best case scenario in order to not depend on others. So as I mentioned, in Sales Titans, what we do is we help startups and entrepreneurs to create a sales process from the very beginning to achieve that self-sustainability, and at the same time, what the investors are looking for. These are the four most important words that investors are going to mention when you start talking with them: active users and recurrent users. So this is where you have to get obsessed with: active users and recurrent users, which means sales, right? So we help the companies, startups, and entrepreneurs to achieve active users and recurrent users, which will be the basics before starting to look for investors. You have here our webpage in case you need more info, but basically salestitans.agency. Even if sales are a crucial part of the fundraising process, even if active users and recurrent users are crucial in order to get investment, sometimes, especially in the digital environment where you need to move fast to become a leading player, investment is needed, right? So ideally, you should start with sales, generating sales, with at the end, it means idea validation. And after that, looking for investment. But if you need to start fundraising from the very beginning because you are in specific environments which needs investment from the very beginning, like it could be pharma, for example, you will have to make more or less the same steps, right? So even if you decide to look for investment, once you start looking for investment, never lose your sight on your sales and idea validation. When you start fundraising, you have to be on both sides, generating traction, generating sales, and also looking for investment. Looking for investment, it can become, I can tell, a full-time job. So it can be tricky because while you are looking for investment, you are not taking your time to increase your sales. And you need sales to get investment. So at the end, you need to fight, you need to work on creating a good balance between increasing your sales and looking for investment. So don't lose your focus on sales, because at the end, this is what will keep your company alive. And at the same time, it is what will be piquing the interest on potential investors. At the end, your traction, okay? So which are the importance of bootstrapping or self-sustainability? You have benefits because at the end, that gives you freedom and ownership. When you get investors on board, you lose ownership. So you are always focusing on what matters, which is maintaining your business or your business momentum, right? And then once you are profitable, you will be able to identify the right investors without stress. Because there is something very interesting, is that when you are desperate to find private investment, the investors, like the sharks, they can smell it, right? They can smell blood. So when you are not desperate to get private investment, it means when your sales are going well, when you don't need really investors or private investment, then it's when you become interesting for them, right? So I'm gonna emphasize this point a lot during this presentation because achieving investment is possible, but if you take the right decisions and the right steps, okay? So typical mistake made by entrepreneurs to seek private investment without previously complying with the conditions for obtaining financing. Exactly what we were saying till now. If you need private investment, your business must be attractive enough for investors so that in this way it motivates them to take the risk when investing. This was my mindset when I started in the startup environment. I thought that first I had to attract investment in order to create a product, and with this product validate my idea. I was completely wrong. The reality is that first you have to validate your idea, which means generate sales, get active users, get recurrent users. Based on this idea, create a product. And once you have the product which is creating sales, then you can start your fundraising process, not before. Don't make the same mistake I did. The first 500K I raised, which is the one I just told you in the very beginning, I lost them completely. That investor money was burned, as used to happen in 9 of 10 startups. 9 out of 10 startups are not able to survive because their mindset is not the right one. They think that first they need to get the investment to create a product and then to validate the idea. But the reality is that if you can validate the idea, that means that you are earning your right to survive in the business environment. And then based on that, you will be getting much easier the investment you need to scale your project or business. So what idea validation means? Basically, sales, active users and recurrent users. We go back to these 4 magical words: active users and recurrent users, which in summary is traction, right? This will open all doors in the world to get investment. So this is summarizing the ideal roadmap. First, get traction. If you think that your idea is the best idea in the world, as it happened to me several times, it can be the best idea in the world, right? But you have to demonstrate it. The market will determine if in reality your idea is the best in the world or not. And this is what the investors are looking for. If you are able to generate $1, once you are able to generate $1, you are able to replicate it because you know how you achieved it. But you cannot let that process to figure out later, because then you will not be attracting any investor. So first, traction. Work on creating your sales process. Work on creating which is your ideal customer profile, and get obsessed on generating the first dollar for your company. Once you have been able to generate the first sales, after that, then you can knock doors. You can look for business angels that are related to your business. You only need to convince one business angel, just one, if possible, that could be related with your business. Because then it will be not just money, but smart money. After that, once you are in with one business angel, it's easier to get more business angels on board. Because that same business angel, as I mentioned, they move in groups like sharks. So once you have one business angel in, he will be connecting you with their main network. And then once you get one business angel, then their network, then after that, you will be more interesting for venture capital. So how to identify the right investors? You have to fish in the right waters. Of course, you have to be aware that they have money available, not only money, but experience and network related to your business. Be aware that they have their own investors network, because that will speed up the process to increase your fundraising. And then where and when to fundraise. The first normal step is to fund with your own money. to make the first steps, to create the first sales. Okay. Another good option is the crowdfunding. Another good option in the very beginning are startup accelerators. I have been in some of the most important globally startup accelerators in the world, and I can tell that they already have a business angel network, right? So it's very easy to be connected with them from startup accelerators. They get equity normally from your company, but I can tell that in the very beginning, it pays off because it speeds up the process. After that, business angels, and after that, venture capital. Other options, social media, banks, subsidies, and credit lines. So, how to convince investors? This is myself in Rome, 2016, in front of more than 700 investors. I was part of one accelerator, startup accelerator, that gave me the chance to connect with all these investors. I created my pitch, and then I pitched in front of these investors. And that day, I got my first 100K in investment to develop my idea. So, in order to create your pitch, you have to be clear with your goals. First, minimizing the perception of the risk. Second, showing that your startup is a good investment decision and that it will help you get started with the negotiation with investors, right? So what you should include in your pitch? You can do it with some slides. So the name of your company. If you can do it in less than than 5 words, it will be perfect. Like, we are the Airbnb for X, or we are the Amazon for X. Then second slide, problem. Third slide, solution. You have to include the market, sum. You have to include and to show that you are aware of who is your competition. You have to include your business model, which is your customer acquisition process, which is your traction and which achievements you got, the team that is behind, which is the roadmap if you get the desired investment, how much is the investment that you need, and which is the long-term vision of your company. So in order to nail it, to create the best presentation, to present it in front of your potential investors, I highly recommend you to hire a designer. Don't show just a basic PowerPoint, right? If you are presenting in front of people or investors, try to have visual contact with your audience. Of course, smile. Then you can work on improving your diction, your gestures, your posture. If you have a podium, try not to touch it, and then try to put in place a pre-game routine. Normally, I used to have my own haka, okay, like the New Zealand rugby team. So it helps me before going into the stage. Okay. So how, once you have achieved some interest from potential investors, then you have to keep them updated. But as I mentioned before, you shouldn't lose your focus on your sales, right? So, and as fundraising is normally a never-ending process, which requires a lot of time, you should achieve this balance between business duties to generate the growth and the fundraising as well, right? Because it can become a full-time job, this fundraising. So Once you start conversations with potential investors, try to get their contact details, at least their email address. So then you can automate the updates for them. You can update them once per month, showing them the main KPIs of your company. But at the end, what you will be doing during this process of updating in a monthly basis is to nurture their relationship with them. If you want to get money from any person in the world, they have to trust you, right? So right now you are in the process of earning that trust. So how you can automate this updating process? Very easy. You can just create a Google Drive folder, where you can include all the needed information. Let me share this with you so you can see an example. Okay, you are seeing it. So in this Google Drive folder, you will be including the general rules, which in the README first, you will include that this is confidential and all this kind of stuff. Then you will be showing the members' general info of the company. So who are the current investors, who are the people that is already involved, which is the legal documentation of the company, which is the business plan, the team, employees' contracts, the financial status of the company, and which is the status of the financing round. So you have the chance to give access to your potential investors to share the link to this Google Drive folder so they can access whenever they want. But at the same time, once a month, you will be sharing with them one email with the link to this Google Drive folder, right? So they can access and monitor your advancements. Okay. So in this following up, normally a monthly email is ideal. You will be talking about governance of your company, the strategy, the team, financial situation, business development, software development, marketing, competition, fundraising, and then you put the link to the Drive folder where you have your KPIs, right? Your sales, your customer acquisition cost, your lifetime value, whatever that could be relevant for your investors. Creating urgency works. Once you are nurturing this relationship with your potential investors and being sure that you already have shared enough information for them in order to take a decision, in order to validate a potential investment, then you can send them an email establishing a deadline to receive their final decision. Let's say that you start updating them in a monthly basis, you spend 3 to 6 months, and then after these 3 to 6 months, you create an email with a deadline to get a decision. Now that they know your data and your projections, they should be ready to take a decision. And two things can happen, right? One thing could be a negative answer, which is fine, right? Maybe they are not the best fit for our company. If they say no, that they are not interesting, we'll remove them from our database. We will not keep them informed about our advancements, and we will let them know. In case they are interested, we will receive a proposal from their side. They know very well which is the potential value of your company. They know very well which is the investment amount that they could be considering to invest. So if they're interested and you put a deadline to take a decision, normally they will send you a proposal. And once you have the proposal, then you can start negotiating with it in order to make an agreement. Then, one step ahead, once we have investors on board, your main duty is to ask them to connect you with your network, because the business angels, they follow each other, right? So once they connect you with another investor and another investor is coming in, rinse and repeat. Again, please introduce me to your network, okay? This is endless. And of course, we have to keep them informed, as we do with potential investors. We have to keep informed the current investors, especially the current ones, right? And if you need help, once you have investors on board, imagine that you are struggling in order to automate a process in your company, or you are struggling on increasing your business, or on creating the best team ever, whatever, ask them for help. They love to show their expertise. Take advantage of the people that you have onboarded, right? And that will be nurturing even more your relationship. And that can make that they put more money if they trust you, right? You can also define a monthly strategic committee with your main investors and involve them in the main decisions of your company. That gives them prominence in your business, and they like it because they already have passed in all the challenges that you are facing right now. They already faced in the past, so they love to help. Some last tips: don't raise money too early. Remember, there are some steps that you have to achieve first, and first is to validate your idea, demonstrate traction, be able to show that you have active users and recurrent users. Plan very well the fundraising beforehand, because each door that you are going to knock, if you lose that opportunity, normally it never comes back. So plan very well before knocking every single door of potential investors. It's not the same to knock a door saying, hey, this is my idea, than knocking a door and saying, hey, this is my idea, and these are our sales, our current sales, this is our sales projection, this is how we have validated our idea, and so on, right? So be able that your startup is fundable. Choosing the right investors, that will be ideal, right? Sometimes it's not possible because you only have few options, but if you can choose between some of them, choose the ones that are more related to the nature of your business, because they will help you to scale later on. Network a lot. You have to talk with a lot of people, ask for introductions, be open, gear up for it. You need full commitment on fundraising and in your company. Plan well, and of course, get obsessed with sales. So that's all from my side in summary, and this is how I have been able to fundraise. So if you have any specific question, feel free to write it down or to contact me later on. I will be more than happy to assist. Thank you.